It is time for today's tax talk. First, I got to turn on the microphone. Must be in a hurry today because I forgot to put the destinations in and forgot to turn on my microphone. Can't broadcast without a microphone. Anyway, today it is time for today's tax talk. I'm your host. I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. It is Tuesday, January 18th, the year of our Lord 2022. And, always after the first of the year, after we're done looking back about the top 10, this or that, we start looking to the future. And so that's what we're going to do today on today's Tax Talk. We're going to look to the future of crypto and blockchain. Won't you join us? Okay, so the future of crypto, when I was back in the 95, 96, when the internet came out, I was very gung-ho about the internet. I started doing some coding and did some web pages. I thought, this is the future. Of course it is, but not the future that I had anticipated. I did not anticipate that several large corporations would come in and own the internet. And I think there's five sites that take up the vast majority of all destinations on the internet. And I always thought there'd be infinite number, and you can go anywhere, and there'd be people talking and different ideas and different opinions. But that's not how it turned out. And so now with the blockchain and crypto, same thing. We're at that beginning where we all look forward and we think, hey, there's the potential here that we could be free of many of these onerous governmental units and cut out the middleman and have some freedom. And I watched a lot of John McAfee, and he was a big crusader for the open blockchain and the potential of what it could be. Although it seems that it's turning out much more like the internet than I had hoped for. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. There's a couple good articles about this, and so let's go to those articles right now. And this one I like. They're fairly long, but I'll try not to read all of it unless I get carried away. But this is a good one. Will blockchain fulfill its democratic promise, or will it become a tool of big tech? Engineers are focused on reducing its carbon footprint, ignoring the governance issues raised by the technology. That's what we're going to worry about, the footprint. When cryptocurrency Bitcoin first made its appearance in 2009, an interesting divergence of opinions about it rapidly emerged. Journalists tended to regard it as some kind of incomprehensible money laundering scam, while computer scientists who were largely agnostic about Bitcoin's prospects nevertheless thought that the distributed ledger technology, blockchain, that undermined the currency was a big idea that could have far-reaching consequences. Again, I'm of that opinion that it's really about blockchain. Cryptocurrency is interesting, but that's just one use of the blockchain technology, and it happens to be the first use, so first real use. And so it's the blockchain technology that has that promise. In this conviction, they were joined by legions of techno-libertarians who viewed the technology as a way of enabling economic life without the oppressive oversight of central banks and other regulatory institutions. Blockchain technology had the potential to change the way we buy and sell, interact with government, and verify the authenticity of everything from property titles to organic vegetables. It combined blurbed that well-known revolutionary body, Goldman Sachs, the openness of the internet with the security of cryptography to give everyone a faster, safer way to verify key information and establish trust. Verily, cryptography would set us free. I still believe that that's still potential. That's what we hope. At its core, a blockchain is just a ledger, a record of time-stamped transactions. These transactions can be any movement of money, goods, and secure data. A purchase at a store, for example, the title of a piece of property, the assignment of an NHS number, or a vaccination status. You name it. In the offline world, transactions are verified by some central third party, a government agency, a bank, or Visa, say. But a blockchain is a distributed, decentralized ledger where verification, and therefore trustworthiness, comes not from the central authority, but from a consensus of many users of the blockchain that a particular transaction is valid. Verified transactions are gathered into blocks, which are then chained together using a heavy-duty cryptography so that, in principle, any attempt retrospectively to alter the details of a transaction would be visible. And oppressive rent-seeking authorities such as Visa and MasterCard, or for that matter, Stripe, are nowhere in the chain. Given all that, it's easy to see why the blockchain idea evokes utopian hopes. At last, technology is sticking it to the man. In that sense, the excitement surrounding it reminds me of the early days of the internet, as I mentioned, when we really believed that our contemporaries had invented a technology that was democratizing and liberating and beyond the reach of established power structures. Well, how we were proven wrong. And indeed, the network had and still possesses those desirable affordances, but we're not using them to achieve their great potential. And again, we talked on this show about Web3, and that's one of the promises of Web3, to finally break free of all of this control that several large companies have cast over the internet. And Web3 promises to break that hold. Will it? Well, again, that's the future. I think that's where we're going. The more I'm going to kind of get off of this, because the more I think that these things are going to free us all, the more it enslaves us, and it's kind of maddening, the more all these technologies that are to free us of all this oppression. Or, we used to have one newspaper thought, well, we'll have unlimited amounts of opinion writers, and we can go there and get any opinion that, or all opinions. Right, and then we find out that that's just not true. There's still a number. Again, I keep going back to this because there's a small number of companies who really run the internet and control what you see and what you don't see, and that's kind of opposite of what I thought would happen with the internet. Again, Web3 kind of promises something more. The promise is there. Same thing with blockchain. The promise is there. Okay. And indeed, the network had and still possesses those desirable affordances, but we're not using them to achieve that great potential. Instead, we've got YouTube and Netflix. What we underestimated in our naivete were the power of the sovereign states, the ruthlessness and capacity of the corporations, and the passivity of the consumers, a combination of which eventually led to a corporate capture of the internet and the centralization of digital power in the hands of a few giant corporations and national governments. In other words, the same entrapment has happened to the breakthrough communications technologies, telephone, broadcast radio, and TV, and movies in the 20th century, memorably chronicled by Tim Wu in his book, The Master Switch. Will this happen to blockchain technology? Hopefully not, but the enthusiastic endorsement of it by outfits such as Goldman Sachs is not exactly reassuring. The problem with digital technology is that, for engineers, it is both intrinsically fascinating and seductively challenging, which means that they acquire a kind of tunnel vision. They are so focused on finding solutions to the technical problems that they are blinded to the wider context. At the moment, for example, the consensus establishing processes for verifying blockchain transactions require intensive computation, with a corresponding heavy carbon footprint. Reducing that poses intriguing technological challenges, but focusing on them means that the engineering community isn't thinking about the governance issues raised by the technology. There may not be any central authority in the blockchain, but as someone pointed out years ago, that there are rules for what constitutes a consensus, and therefore a question about who exactly sets those rules. The engineers, the owners of the biggest supercomputers on the chain, Goldman Sachs. These are the ultimately political questions, not technical ones. Blockchain engineers also don't seem to be much interested in the needs of the humans who might ultimately be users of the technology. That, at any rate, is the conclusion that cryptographer Mosey came into in fascinating examination of the technology. When people talk about blockchains, he writes, they talk about a distributed trust, leaderless consensus, and all the mechanics of how that works, but often gloss over the reality that clients ultimately can't participate in those mechanics. All the network diagrams are of servers, and the trust model is between servers. Everything is about servers. Blockchains are designed to be a network of peers, but not designed such that it's really possible for your mobile device or your browser to be one of those peers. And we're nowhere near that point yet. So again, very good article. I sometimes what's good is what you kind of agree with. Well, maybe if I disagree with it, I wouldn't find it good. But I found it. It is something to think about. That the that this our future of blockchain, the promise. We can again look back at the internet about where we were. They could say Internet 1, which was just going on like a billboard. Internet 2, which has this back and forth, but not really. And then Internet 3, which promises to be more diverse and much more interactive. And so, will that break that bind of these few small number of corporations that hold such a always something to think about. This is what we're talking about today. Where is it going to bring us next? We are on the precipice of a new form of finance that will use a range of technologies to change the way we use and manage one of our most fundamental tools, money. Gone are the days of taking out cash from the ATM, applying for a mortgage by visiting a bank branch, or shopping in a department store. Now many conducting financial transactions of any kind is purely an online experience, escalated over the past 2 years by the COVID. Increasingly, the future of money exists in the ether via phones and laptops. But there's bigger future, but there's bigger future for money, the early stages of which are now taking place. Cryptocurrencies are faster, more powerful financial technologies are transforming our concept of money and challenging the financial institutions that currently manage it. The year 2021 was a transformative year for finance, and 2022 is promising up to bring more change. They look at two categories, blockchain and digital currency. Again, this is the promise. And then the next one is upcoming trends in cryptocurrency. I often like to talk about, again, John McAfee, who talked about, is cryptocurrency designed to be a storage of value, as we found with Bitcoin, or a medium of transactions that we use it for money to transfer from one to another? With the volatility, very few people want to use Bitcoin to buy something. If I'm on the receiving end, I'm afraid that it's going to fall in value before I can use it. And if I'm on the paying end, I'm afraid that it's going to grow in value tomorrow. And if I spend it today, I won't have it to buy tomorrow. So there's that volatility really causes a interruption in the use of it as a transactional median, and rather becomes a storage of value like gold. Again, I think the promise is in the transactional and not the storage of value. Maybe again, there's so many different. You can have so many different types of cryptocurrency that maybe you can have two different kinds. Maybe Bitcoin can be a storage of value, and others can be more of a currency. I don't know. We don't know where it's going to go, but I wanted to at least mention that today, bring it up. I thought it was interesting. Again, being the first of the year, we are always thinking of at New Year's Eve. We think about the past, and then as the year we get into the new year, we start thinking about the future. What does the future hold? I am doing a lot of cryptocurrency. I'm helping people with taxes on cryptocurrency. I'm learning about the Ethereum smart contracts. Right, I'm an attorney. Smart contracts should be right up my alley, and so I'm learning about the smart contracts and how we can use them in our everyday life. Maybe accepting crypto as payment in my practice. We're not there yet, but I think this year we can get there. So these are the things that I'm thinking of, and I hope you're thinking of them too. So if you'd like me to share some of your ideas with me in the comments, be happy to engage with you on those ideas. Now, remember, I'm going to ask you to like and share this content. Who else is out there every week talking about crypto? I don't know if they might have some others, but I don't see them. I'm looking for them. So, remember, crypto, tax stuff. It's really the news today. So, again, like and share our content. We'd very much appreciate it. If you're fighting the IRS, which is what I help people do, our company is Open Tax Advocates. We help business professionals solve IRS problems. If you're having an IRS problem, you're probably asking yourself, what do I do first? Well, the first thing you do if you have an IRS problem, get a copy of my book, Deal with Your IRS Problem Today. Go to freeirsbook.com, freeirsbook.com, get a copy of my book, Deal with Your IRS Problem Today. It'll tell you where to go with it. So thanks so much for joining us here today on Crypto Tuesday. It's always a lot of fun. And we hope that you can join us tomorrow for our today's tax talk. Thanks so much for joining us, and we are out.